Morton. Stevens. Just as a reminder, there's no flash photography allowed in these proceedings and no recording of any kind, including a cell phone or tablet use. Our mic holders are at the ready for your questions. If you have a follow-up, please don't let them leave your side so you can get that second question in. If you haven't silenced your cell phones yet, this would be a good time. Remember to introduce yourself, your identity, and affiliation before your first question to each dais. And keep in mind, these sessions are 12 minutes apiece. Each school gets 12 minutes. With the victory, the Wolfpack will go on to play Cincinnati in the second round. That'll be Sunday's first game, time to be announced. Right there, first one. Yep. The victorious Wolfpack are represented by head coach Eric Musselman, Caleb Martin, Kendall Stevens, and Josh Hall. We're going to ask Coach Musselman for an opening statement, and then we'll go to questions for all four gentlemen from the Wolfpack here, and then in a 12-minute session. Eric, please.
First of all, we'd like to apologize for any language that might have been caught on TV. Obviously, we had a very excited locker room, and we apologize for that. So the game, I thought, the second half, we had to play at a faster pace. I thought that Texas and Coach Smart did a phenomenal job of controlling the tempo for those first 30 minutes, and then eventually we started knocking down some three balls, and once we started driving the ball a little bit more in the second half, I thought that opened up our three ball, and couldn't be prouder of the team. Obviously, the size advantage that they had inside on the backboards, we did a much better job in the second half of scrapping around and trying to get loose balls, and really proud of the job our team did of taking care of the ball. We thought that Texas could cause some trouble if they jumped in the passing lanes, and with Roach and Coleman's ability to get out and get steals, and these guys did a great job only having 7 turnovers in a game that we score 87 points.
Questions for any of the four gentlemen up here? Start right here in front. Thank you.
Caleb, you guys are fighting from behind basically the entire game. Your last lead before overtime was 5-2. You're down 14 in the second half. Did just getting to overtime kind of feel like a second life? It seemed like you guys played a lot looser in the final 5 minutes there.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, with a team like us, it felt like kind of like the Texas Tech game. We knew we were going to be in trouble if we got in overtime at their place, and I feel like that's exactly how it was for this game, but vice versa for us. And Jordan had some big free throws at the end, and he hit one of those, was huge for us. And we got in overtime, like you said, it just gave us more life. So, it's just like it's a whole nother game, 5-minute game.
Coach, what was that feeling? And it looked like you jumped into Johnny Jones's arms with about 2 seconds to go. I mean, can you just describe what you were feeling in that second?
I don't know how we won, Chris. Just the progress of where the program's come. We made it here last year. We've grinded, all of us, hard, since the beginning of the summer with a goal in mind, and it was try to advance. And again, we didn't play very well, but just the ball movement in the second half. When you look at the stats sheet and you see Cody's assist, Caleb's assist, Jordan Caroline at the center spot to have 5 assists. I mean, I thought we really, really shared the basketball, and we might have played a little tight in that first half, and I think that the guys started to settle in the second half, and once we started knocking down some threes, and again, the pace of the play. I mean, for us to score 26 points at the half it's frustrating for us, and thought we got out and got some transition baskets, and it really opened the game up for us.
I have 2, one for Eric and then one for Caleb. Coach, the play call you had at the end of regulation that Caleb shot, was that the shot you wanted, or did they defend and make you do something else? No,
we had 2 options, and 1A was the shot we got, and if we get close again, we'll probably run something pretty similar, and then the other one was Kendall running the baseline, and he was open as well, and you just want guys that are playing well and that you have good confidence in to take a shot, and I thought he got a really, really good look. It didn't fall, no big deal. We got back into the timeout in overtime and said, hey, it's a 5-minute game now, and Bamba's out of the game, and he had such a big impact on our dribble drives and stuff. And I thought Jordan did a great job of getting into his body on dribble penetration in the second half.
Caleb, you had, I think, 3 threes right off the bat to start the overtime. Did you feel a little more pressure going into the overtime in terms of trying to take on yourself?
Not really. Honestly, I felt looser. I feel like at the regulation, regular regulation, I played like Coach said. I feel like I was playing tight. The ball felt foreign when I was putting on the floor, and I was probably a little nervous. So then, like Chris said, when we got the overtime, it's like it was like more life, and I just, like Coach said, just trying to settle in. I felt better, honestly, in overtime.
Kendall, that first half didn't look too dissimilar from the first half against San Diego State. I guess, how did you guys keep looking forward and not getting kind of stuck in how you guys played offensively in those first 20 minutes?
Yeah, man, we knew that, it was a team that we could beat. We were confident in ourselves. We were kind of just disappointed in our effort and kind of our mishaps on defense. And I think that once we cleaned it up, moved the ball more on offense, we was able to get confidence from getting stops, consecutive stops, and then that kind of, allowed us to use our momentum from hitting jumpers and things like that. So I think the biggest thing for us was kind of working on ourselves and kind of making sure that we were getting consecutive stops.
Josh, you played really well in the NCAA tournament last year. I mean, what is it that you like about this stage that seems to bring the best out in you?
I want to win. That's plain and simple. I just want to win. So not only do I want to play good, but I want my team to play well, and I just want to advance. We didn't win last year, so winning this game was really big for us, and it shows that we're a better team than last year, and we're moving in the right direction. So I just want to win.
Can you talk a little bit, Coach, about Josh's play? I mean, it seemed like he really booed you guys in the first half and kind of kept you in it and kept you within striking distance, in that second half.
Yeah, he had, really good shot selection. He's such a good basket cutter. And defensively, he gives us another dimension. He gives us a fifth guy out there that's across the board. We're 6'6", and, we had a conversation at the very beginning of the year about whether to start or not start, and, he told me and he told other guys on the staff that he was fine coming off the bench, and so that's kind of been his role. But we look at him in the entire season as a starter, and obviously to play him the minutes that we did last year, over even guys that were seniors and stuff. I have great, confidence in him. Late game, we had him as an inbounder because I have confidence in him, and he just gives us another dimension of a guy who can rebound, defend, and make shots.
Kendall, they hit a three-pointer. To start overtime, they hit a three-pointer. Then they hit a three-pointer with foot on line. And then they get a four-point play. They're really coming out of that, into overtime really strong. I guess what kept you guys thinking that, you could stay in this game and pull it out?
Across the board, we just got guys that have played in hostile environments. We've been there before, so we know that all we need is a chance. We're confident that once we get back down the court that we're able to score effectively, and that's what we did. We just got to tighten up defensively towards the end, and that's what we were able to do, get more stops than they did, and we made more plays than they did down the stretch. But it was a tough game. You got to give credit to Texas, man. They made it tough.
Coach, you mentioned Bamba not being in there in overtime. How much did that affect the game? And it just seemed like it was a completely different game in overtime. Pretty much a grind through regulation on both sides, and then overtime, and everybody just starts hitting shots. Yeah,
it just kind of changes the complexion of who Texas is. Instead of being a team that's dominant, throwing the ball inside, then their guards are so talented, Roach and Coleman. And, look, we tried to do as good a job as we could with our size on Bamba, and I thought we did a great job. He averages 12 points a game. He got 13. They play in a league with great size. We're undersized even in a league that doesn't have much size. And so I just thought our guys really, really battled on post defense. All my friends, people in the media, everybody was asking how are we going to defend Bamba inside, and I thought we did a phenomenal job with our fronts and really battling, had great weak side help as well.
We have 4 minutes to go. Next question's right here.
Coach, talk about Coleman's play. We hadn't heard a whole lot about him, when you talk about Texas, and he seemed to keep them in the game in the second half.
Yeah, he played a great game. Obviously, if you look at his three-point shooting over the course of the year, it's a lower percent. And, we wanted him to take shots, and sometimes when you make a coaching decision, it can backfire. And he played extremely well. And we kind of stuck with the philosophy of how we started the game. We didn't alter it. We thought that over 40 minutes, if we could just try to keep him out of the lane, the more film we watched over and over and over, he's so great at getting in the lane and throwing lob passes to Jericho Sims or Bamba, and we didn't want that to happen. And we kind of lived with the three ball, and obviously he went 4 for 5, and he and Roach played phenomenal basketball games. But we felt like their guards, if they score, that means that they're not getting shots by the rim, and Jericho's percentage and Bamba's percentage is above 50%. We were going to live with the guards shooting.
Josh, you guys are down 14 in the second half. How would you describe the heart and resiliency of this team to be able to pull out a victory in that situation?
I think it helped us a lot with the non-conference schedule that we played this year, being battle-tested, especially on the road at TCU. And, you know, the tougher games we play, I think that helped us during this time of the year, and I think that's what those games are meant for. So when we got down, we just knew we had to keep fighting and, you know, to keep working hard and to not get down and just stay positive, and we knew we would come out and win.
Kendall, you transferred here knowing you only had 1 year to play and you had a goal to not only get to the tournament but to win games. I guess what does it mean to you to, you know, pick up this program's first victory in this tournament since 2007 and only the 5th victory in the school's history in this tournament?
Yeah, it means a lot, man. When you play the game, especially for as many college years as I have, you want to be known as a winner. And I wanted to go out, you know, winning one game at least. And so the biggest thing for us is, as a team, is just to use this game as confidence and build on it. You know, go into the next game with more energy and more focus.
Caleb, did you feel like there was a turning point in this game that kind of swung things in your favor?
Probably just the overtime. I mean, I just think that us fighting and Jordan going up there and hit that big free throw to tie it up for us to go into OT, you know, it just gave us confidence. You know, you could kind of tell when we walked back on the floor, you could tell the energy of their team was very low. It's one of those things where you're just like, dang, I wish we didn't go into overtime. It's exactly how it felt. I felt the same energy with us walking into Texas Tech when we walked back on. You know, when guys were in foul trouble and, you know, we had the same energy. We were like, dang, we shouldn't have gotten overtime. So we kind of felt the same way with them walking back on the floor.
Coach, you guys are 0-2 in overtime so far this season. I mean, do you feel like they took any lessons from those games going into this extra session?
I think so. You know, as I look back at the game, the conditioning I thought was really important. I thought both teams have limited benches, and I thought our conditioning, like I didn't feel we got tired at all. And I do think that like certain plays that we run, because we've been in close games, I thought they did a really good job executing like our wing pick and roll down the stretch, which we've done, you know, pretty well for 3 years. But I thought we looked at some different options, and I do think that there was confidence going into the overtime, even though, you know, we would have liked to have won in regulation. But I sensed the huddles were much different in overtime than they were in the first half, especially.
Thank you, gentlemen. Best of luck. See you Sunday.
Thank you. I'll get rid of it. Thank you.
Coach. Texas Longhorns are now with us. Head coach Shaka Smart is also with Matt Coleman, Mohamed Bamba, Kerwin Roach II. We're going to ask Coach Smart to open up with a statement, then we'll go to questions for all four gentlemen from Texas. Shaka, please.
It's a devastating loss. It's a terrible feeling right now. Nevada deserves a ton of credit. They made some huge plays, huge shots in the second half and in overtime. They're a really good team. Obviously, we put ourselves in position early in the second half to take the game, but we didn't play with enough aggressiveness down the stretch. I thought they were the more aggressive team, and that gave them an edge.
Questions for any of the Longhorns? Start right here, Karen. Thank you.
Snoop, can you just, the way that the final part of regulation unfolded, the back and forth, and then the missed free throw, what did y'all want to do when Dylan got the ball with like 3.6 left? Did y'all have something drawn up, or what was supposed to happen there?
We had a play drawn up where we throw it to Jericho, and he was supposed to flip it back to me, but we didn't even complete that pass. But we just didn't execute that play, turned it over.
Shaka, you guys got up, I think it was 40-25, a lot of free flowing, just a lot of driving, kicking, moving the ball around. Did they do anything to change, get you guys out of rhythm offensively? Because it seemed like from that point on, you guys kind of struggled to generate good looks.
They did a good job taking away some drives at that point, but I did think we got a little hesitant for a stretch there. We've talked about it many times before. When you have a lead, you got to stay aggressive and keep attacking. But they did a really nice job trying to take away some of those driving angles. We were trying to look to throw the ball inside. They doubled, they doubled before the ball even went in, and we missed some shots. We had some possessions where at the end of the clock we didn't get anything going that we wanted to. So that was a big difference in the game.
Shaka, what were the conversations like at halftime? You're up 9, but you knew a three-point shooting team was going to continue to shoot, and they were 3 out of 12 from distance. What were those conversations like?
We just talked about the fact that the two biggest keys on defense were transition defense, and then taking away the three-point shot from them. So we talked about that. We reinforced what we needed to do. Being up 9, in an NCAA tournament game, the other team's going to really do everything they can to make a run. Our guys started the half really well. But, again, I thought the crucial part of that second half was when they took control in terms of being the more aggressive team. And obviously at that point they had nothing to lose. They were behind. They were attacking. And we just didn't do enough to match them.
Mo, obviously you foul out late. You're stuck watching them from the sideline. I mean, what's going through your head when you looked almost sick that you couldn't be out there with them in overtime? What's going through your head while you're watching that?
During that, I was just trying to impact, rub some energy off of my teammates to try and impact the game as much as possible, even from the sideline. So,
Matt, when overtime began, did you feel like you had to take over, needed to take over? What was your kind of mindset there?
Find a way to win. But that didn't happen, came up short.
Adam Sparks of Tennessee, and Shaka, kind of a loaded question, but just overall, what does the program need to add to get to that next step, to get to that NCAA tournament win? What do you think needs to be fixed or added?
We obviously just are minutes removed from a devastating loss. So right now our mind is on that game, and what we'll do as coaches and players is focus on what's next. But now's obviously a time where we're extremely upset about the game. But off the top of my head, the simple answer to your question is, in a game like today, we need to add, 1 or 2 more winning plays. That's the difference. One more stop, one more rebound. It's a cruel, hard assessment, but, in games like this that go into overtime, and we've been in as many as anyone in the country, one play does make the difference.
Anything else for the gentleman from Texas? All right. Thank you very much. Best of luck in the future, guys.